Good day and thank you for joining us. Today we'll be looking at congruency. So, two triangles are congruent if they have the same shape and the same size. So essentially two triangles that are congruent are exactly the same. So when we're looking at congruency, we know that the sign for congruency will be these three lines over here, which run horizontal. If we were to say that two triangles are congruent after proving that, we'd say, therefore, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. So once we've proven that two triangles are congruent, this is how we'll write it out. Now to look at some of the different types of congruency or the conditions for congruency, we can see here 4 types of congruency. Number 1, all 3 sides of both triangles are the same size. So if all 3 sides of both triangles are the same size, we know that we have a side-side-side congruency. Okay? Now, second option, if 2 sides as well as 1 angle on each triangle is the same, that means we'd use the condition side angle side. The third type of congruency is if 2 angles as well as 1 side on each triangle are the same. In that case, we'd use the condition angle angle side. And for the last type of congruency, where both triangles have an equal hypotenuse, 1 side, and a 90-degree angle. So they both need to have an equal hypotenuse, they have to have 1 equal side on both triangles, and they have to have a 90-degree angle. So how we write that is hypotenuse, side, and 90-degree angle. Okay, now that we've covered that, we can move on to an example. So, looking at this example over here, let's see what we can do. Okay, so they give us the triangle ABC and triangle DEF. And then they give us these special lines over here, which is going to be very important information for us when we're busy with congruency. So how are we going to answer this now? So we'll move on to doing our first step first, okay? So our first step always, what we're going to do is we're going to write out. Remember what I said before, if we're trying to prove something, we need to write out the statement. So the way we'll write out the statement in this case is in triangle ABC and triangle DEF. So you see we're writing out a statement of which triangles we're working with, okay? Because in some examples it could give you 3 triangles, but there are only 2 that are congruent. So now you're trying to prove which triangles are congruent. So you'll say in triangle ABC and triangle DEF. So they know, okay, you're busy with these 2 triangles over here. Cool. So once you've done step number 1, you can move straight on to step number 2. So when it comes to step number 2, you're going to be proving what of both triangles are equal. So if we're trying to do that, we'll look for the sides that are equal first, okay? So these special lines over here, they tell us which sides of the triangle are equal. So you can see line AB has the same line going through it as DE, meaning that these 2 sides are equal, right? So we'll say AB is equal to DE. And the reason we'd give them is that it is given, because they gave us that these 2 sides are equal. So you can see how the steps come together. It says in triangle ABC and triangle DEF. Now we're telling them what is in both triangles, right? So now we look for another side that are equal. Let's see. BC have 2 lines going through it, and EF also has 2 lines going through it. So we write those next. We can say BC is equal to EF. if I haven't said so before, BC over here, that's line BC, right? Because we're dealing with this line over here. It's line BC. It's because it's from B to C. So we've said now that BC is equal to EF, and the reason is that it is given. So, as you know, we need 3 different reasons for a triangle to be congruent. Now we're looking for one more, and we can see once again here that in AC and DF, they both have 3 lines going through them, meaning they are equal. So now we can say line AC is equal to line DF. And the reason for that would be it is given. So, once we've proven the 3 sides that are equal, this leads us to our last step, which is step number 3. So this comes back to the first slide where I showed you how we write out a statement once we've proven that triangles are congruent, right? So now that's where this is going to come into play, right? We're going to say, therefore, triangle ABC is congruent. Don't forget your sign for congruency, right? 3 horizontal lines to triangle DEF. And our reason for this is going to be, so we're going to open up our brackets to write our reason. Let's see what we got. Our first reason was 2 sides that are equal. Our second reason was 2 sides are equal again, and the same for our third reason. So straight away we know we're dealing with side, side, side. So we can write in side, 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 as that's the congruency that we've proven, right? So that is how we do this first example. It's pretty simple. All we did was we made a statement for which triangles we're busy with. Then we proved which 2 sides in both triangles are equal. Once we had 3 different reasons, we gave a statement of the fact that both triangles are congruent, and we gave our reason, which was side, side, side. Looking at another example. This is example number 2 now. We can see now that we get given triangle ABC once again and triangle DEF. But this time, they're going to tell us, they're going to give us 2 sides, right? And we already know that these make the sides equal, right? But now they're giving us 2 angles as well. 1 angle per triangle. And we can see that both angles are equal. So straight away we know that we can have a different reason this time for congruency. So once again we hit up step 1. We say, we tell them which triangles we're working with. So in triangle ABC and triangle DEF. So now we've made our statement of which triangles we're working with. Now our second step, can you remember what that is? That is when we are going to prove why these triangles are congruent by saying which sides are equal, which angles are equal, and all of that, okay? So let's deal with the sides first. So we have line AB and DE with 1 line going through it, so we know those are equal. So we can say line AB is equal to line DE. And the reason is going to be given, because they give us that, right? Next up, we can look at the next lines that are equal. AC and DF have 2 lines going through them, which means they are equal. So we have AC is equal to DF. Sorry, my bad. DF. The reason here again is given. And now we need one more reason. We can see they gave us a 30-degree angle over here by angle A, right? Angle A because the corner where this angle is at A. And angle D is also equal to 30 degrees, which means these angles are equal. So we'll say angle A, which we represent with this almost full triangle on top of it. So angle A is equal to angle D, which is equal to 30 degrees. This was given. So now we've given them three different reasons why these two triangles are congruent. So now we can do our final step. And if you can remember, our final step is our statement that the triangles are congruent with our reason why they are congruent. So we'll say, therefore, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Now we need to give them our reason. So we're going to look at the reasons that we found. So we found side, a side, and then we found an angle. So we know which type of congruency this is. So it's going to be side, angle, side. So now we've given our reason for being congruent, right? And we've done our final statement. Therefore, this example is complete. So now we're going to look at this very last example, okay? So we can see here, they give us triangle ABC and triangle, they write it as triangle ACB and triangle ECD. So they're asking us to prove that these two triangles are congruent. So far, just by looking at it, we can see already that we have two sides on each triangle that are equal. So straight away, let's try and hop into it. So we're going to start off with our first step. And that is in triangle ACB and triangle ECD. So now we've stated which triangles we're working with, right? Moving on to the second step. Now we're going to start proving what are the same sides and if so angles. So we have this line over here and this line over here. So we know that line AC is equal to line EC. So we can write that in. Now reason is going to be that it is given. Okay. And then we can also see here line BC and line DC. So we can say line BC is equal to line DC. The reason is once again given. Now they've given us the two sides. We found what the two sides are equal, right? But now we still need one more reason, but they don't give us anything else. So right now we need to try and figure this out, okay? So straight away, if we're looking at this example, if we can think back to last year when we were dealing with fuzzy x, we could see that we have a massive x over here formed by both triangles. And because we have this x, if I can just highlight it for you guys, we have this x over here, right? And because we have this x, we know that these two angles over here are going to be equal. And why is that? Remember, the x rule was vertically opposite. Okay, so now that we know that these two angles over here are equal, we can say now that one angle over here is C1 and one angle over here is C2, because C represents both of these angles over here. So we need to identify one as C1 and one as C2. So now we can say that angle C1, so this is how we write it, normal, and then the lowercase 1 over here, okay? And then we'll have is equal to angle C2. Now our reason, this is where it's going to be different. We've proven that it is equal because it is vertically opposite. It wasn't given to us, we had to prove it. So that's why we'll write vertically opposite angles. Or you could also write it as the shortened version. So now we've given them three reasons why these two triangles are congruent. Now we can move on to our third step, which is writing out our final statement. which will end off the example for us. So now we're going to go, therefore triangle ACB is congruent to triangle ECD. Now we're going to move on to our reason. Once again, we're going to try and identify what the reasons are. We have side, side, and angle. Okay? So we know that the reason is going to be then side, angle, side. And just like that, we finished the example. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope this video was very helpful, and we hope to see you again next time.